Hi, I'm Amrita. I'm going to show you how to do feasibility analysis on a project or on a site in Snaptrude. So to begin with, the first thing I'm going to do is start a fresh project in the BIM mode, and I'm going to label it as feasibility analysis. As soon as the canvas loads, the first thing I'm going to do is to click on the load topography tool and basically locate my site on a 3D map. Here I can do one of two things. I can either search for the site location by typing in the location of my site in the search box, or I can manually navigate to a site that I know of. In this particular case, I'm just going to navigate across the map and find a suitable site. And once you find the site, you can zoom in. You don't want to be too zoomed out. You don't want too much detail. You just want the detail of the site. Remember to keep the height map checked on. So this will make sure that you can see the 3D and terrain information in your model, right? So if you have a slightly sloped site and that kind of stuff, you get that kind of data. It gives me a map of the site as well as the context, so I have some idea of what I'm working with. The next thing I'm going to do is basically to change some project properties. So just go into project properties and change the units. So I'm going to be working with meters instead of millimeters since I'm working on site feasibility. I'm also going to go ahead and type in my site area. So this will help me in calculation of my FAR. I'm also going to change the dimension snap values here just so that it becomes easier for me to draw. I don't want it to snap every 100 mm. I'm just going to be drawing buildings. So let's snap every 500 mm. So I'll go ahead now and click on the draw tool and I can start drawing the extents of my site based on dimensions that I know of. Now I can go to 3D to view the extents. Now as you can see, the extrusion of the site itself has been placed below the topography. This is because there is a slope to the topography. So I'll go ahead and click on the set datum tool to set the datum for my project. Start with, I've just set it close to the road level so that I will use the road as a reference for the rest of my project. Now I'm going to go ahead and label this mass as a site because I don't need it to be a 3-meter tall extrusion. It's just the extents of my site. I just double click it using the select tool and I label it as site. And as you can see, the site has sunk a little bit. It's become a surface and it has sunk below the topography. So I'm going to change my datum again because I want to start by working with the lowest point on my site. I'm going to go back to plan view, just click on stories and story 1 to navigate to the plan view of the ground floor. Now I'm going to click on draw tool again and I'm ready to start drawing the buildings. I'm going to specify the outline of the first building as say 30 meters by 40 meters, and I'm going to move it around so that it's located perfectly at the setbacks. I'm ready to draw the next building. So I'm going to draw say a residential tower which is much smaller, 12 meters say by 25 meters, and again place it according to setback. Let me label this tower as residential. Once that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and copy it and create another residential tower and maybe rotate it so that's more appropriate for the site. I'm gonna label this tower as commercial. Great. Now I'm ready to draw the next commercial tower. As you can see, it snaps and shows you the extensions as well of the existing towers. So I'm gonna draw the next one based on that. I'm gonna label this one as commercial as well. Now let's take a look at this in 3D. Now let's take a look at the areas. So you can click on the areas tab and you'll get to know exactly how much residential commercial floor space has been allocated. Now I'm ready to create multiple stories. I'm just going to select all the buildings and say I want to create 10 more stories above the ground floor. Just click on copy selection up and the 10 copies are created and the area is updated as well. So if you just go into the areas tab, you will see the updated carpet area and built up area, and you will see the residential and commercial demarcation for every story. You'll also see that the FAR has been updated. So it was 0.97 before and now it's 5.06. Let's say we're targeting to achieve an FAR of about 9.5 or 10, for example. So I'm just going to select some of the commercial areas and replicate them again, say 5 times. Again, I can refresh my areas by closing and opening and keep constant tabs of the FAR, as work progresses. And since we've not hit the target FAR yet, I'm going to increase the height of the first building, the first commercial tower. I'm just going to go ahead and create one copy. This time I'm going to make it as a unique copy because I want to be able to edit the footprint of the story. So just turn the checkbox on, and I can just select the move tool and double click on any face that I want to move in and reduce the size of the mask. Again, you can put in whatever numerical input you want to. And once that's been done, I'm going to create 5 more copies of this. This time I don't want them to be unique. I want all the floors to be the same. And there we go. Now I can click on the areas tab and find the updated FAR. 7.68 is good for me because I have to also create some basements now. Editing the footprint of a building is super easy on Snaptool. You can just select the move tool and you can edit any one story and all the stories get updated automatically. So I'm just going to select, double click on this face. I'm going to move it in. And of course, all the areas are automatically updated as well. The next thing I'm going to do is create some refuge terraces. So I'm just going to select a story that I want to make unique so that I can edit it individually without affecting the others. Now I'll edit this story and then I can go to the plan and add a refuge terrace. Let me draw the footprint by using the lower story as a reference to Snap2. I'm going to label it as refuge terrace. And you can see here in 3D that the height of the refuge terrace is being changed. So it's very accurately reflected in 3D model as well. I'm going to go ahead and create some refuge terraces on the other block as well. This time I'm going to edit it slightly differently. I'm going to edit it in a different direction so it matches with the upper stories. I can label this in 3D as well. So I'm just going to label this as refuge terrace and I'm going to go ahead and copy this onto an upper floor. So the next thing I need to draw is the basement. So I'm just going to select story 1 and I'm going to replicate it downwards using this button. Before I replicate it, I'm going to make sure that the copy is unique so that when I create a basement, the footprint is going to be different from the other stories. As you can see, a new story has been added. That's the basement, story -1. I'm just going to go ahead and edit this in 3D. To do that, I'm going to hide the topography so that all the buildings are more easily visible for me. So this makes it easier for me to match the extent of the basement to the extent of the building. And if I want to extend it a little further, I can do that as well. So I can also edit the geometry of the basement by using add vertex and match the profile of all the buildings. I'm going to label it as parking and you'll see that in the area calculation it'll feature as parking as well. I'm going to replicate this story downwards 2 times so that I get two more basements. And again, as you can see, this gets reflected in my area calculations. The FAR is updated as well. It's around 9.12, which is quite close to what we wanted to achieve. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go ahead and add the remaining refuge terraces. So there we go. That's our final FAR and this is the final massing. Once I'm happy with the massing and the area statement, I can go ahead and extract the area schedule. So I just click on the export button in the areas tab and it will download a CSV file which can be opened in either Excel or Google Sheets. So as you can see, it's clearly set up. You know how much built up area and carpet area is residential or commercial. And you also know how much each of these contributes to the FAR. Another thing that you can change in terms of the area calculations is the settings or how the areas are calculated. So depending on regulations, you may or may not want to include internal walls, external walls, balconies, etc. And for example, if your regulations say that in your carpet area you want to include the internal walls, just type in 0.5 and type enter and you'll see that the carpet area is also updated accordingly. So not only are you keeping tabs of FAR, you're also keeping tabs of your saleable areas. So anytime you want to exclude a room from the FAR, all you have to do is click on this tick box. So if the tick box is unchecked, it's excluded from FAR. I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck all the refuge terraces and you'll see that the FAR will also get updated according to that. The last thing I want to show you is how you can get the costing of the project right at this stage itself. The first thing you need to do for that is to click on this button, which is create building. And what it does is that it takes the masses and it converts them into walls and slabs and flooring. And that helps us extract quantities. So it'll tell you exactly how much of your building is going to be composed of brick, plaster, paint, etc. for the walls, or RCC for the slabs, or by default the flooring is tile, etc. You can also apply materials and you can get the material schedule updated accordingly. So for example, if your commercial building is going to be a complete glass facade, just go ahead, go into the materials tab and click on the particular glass material and just apply it, and you'll see that the bill of materials get updated accordingly. Similarly, if you want to change the type of materials for a certain part of your facade, so for example, I want the railings of my refuge terrace to be a different kind of glass, I'll just go ahead and click and apply, and again you can see that the material schedule is updated accordingly. Once you're happy with your design, you can go ahead and you can export the material schedule exactly like you did the areas. So you can just go ahead and click on the export button, and again a CSV file will be downloaded. If you don't want to download it, you can always just share the file or share the link of the file with anybody in your team, and they'll be able to access the model, they'll be able to access the data. They'll just need your login credentials so that they can access. This makes it very easy to evaluate the feasibility of a site for a project, both in terms of the area and the FSI requirements, as well as in terms of the costing, since you can extract a material schedule immediately from it. You can also easily evaluate different options for the same site itself. So if you want to evaluate different designs and different building locations and orientations, etc., all of that can be quickly sketched out, modeled, and evaluated. So you don't have to spend hours basically drawing it, calculating the areas, tabulating it in Excel, totaling it, etc. All of this is automatically done.